What's up, boxing world? We just witnessed something absolutely insane. Something that goes way beyond the usual pre-fight hype. We all thought Canelo versus Crawford was the biggest fight possible, a dream matchup of legends. But after what just went down at the official weigh-in, this has turned into something else entirely. This is no longer a boxing match, it's a personal vendetta. For those who missed the chaos, let me paint you the picture. The atmosphere was already electric. You had two of the pound-for-pound best, Canelo Álvarez and Terence "Bud" Crawford, on stage for the final face-off. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Canelo, looking unbelievably ripped and confident, stepped onto the scales. The number was announced, and he was perfectly on weight. The crowd roared. Then it was Bud's turn. Crawford, cool as ever, stepped up, just as shredded, just as ready. He made weight too. And that's when things went from tense to explosive. They came to the center of the stage for the traditional stare-down. But this was no ordinary stare-down. This was two apex predators sizing each other up, neither one willing to give an inch. Their eyes were locked, and you could see the raw intensity, the sheer disrespect they have for each other's claim to the throne. For what felt like an eternity, they just stood there, nose to nose, the world holding its breath. Then, Canelo took a half-step forward, invading Crawford's personal space. It was a subtle move, but it was a clear sign of dominance. A test, and Terence Crawford is not a man who backs down from a test. He didn't flinch. He didn't even blink. He stood his ground, and you could almost hear him thinking, "You think that intimidates me?" The crowd started buzzing, sensing that something was about to happen. Canelo, maybe surprised that Crawford didn't react, took another slight step. He leaned in, and you could see his mouth move. We couldn't hear what he said, but whatever it was the spark that lit the fuse. Crawford's expression changed instantly. The cool demeanor vanished, replaced by pure, unadulterated fury. He said something back, and then it happened. Canelo shoved him. A hard, two-handed push to the chest that sent Crawford stumbling back a step, and all hell broke loose. Before Crawford could even retaliate, his trainer, Brian "Bomac" McIntyre, was already surging forward trying to get at Canelo. At the same time, Eddie Reynoso, Canelo's coach, jumped in front of his fighter, creating a barrier. Officials, security guards, and team members from both sides swarmed the stage, turning it into a chaotic mess of bodies. It was a full-blown melee. You had trainers screaming at each other, fighters being held back by 3 or 4 people each, their arms straining, their faces contorted with rage. Canelo was yelling, pointing, trying to get past his own team to get back at Crawford. And Bud? He looked like he was ready to fight the entire building. The raw emotion was unbelievable. This wasn't for the cameras. This wasn't staged hype to sell pay-per-views. This was real, visceral hatred boiling over. The fans in the arena were losing their minds. Phones were up everywhere, recording the pandemonium. You could hear a mix of cheers, gasps, and frantic shouting. The energy was terrifying and exhilarating all at once. It took a good 2 or 3 minutes for the officials to finally gain some semblance of control and separate the two camps, pulling them to opposite sides of the stage. Even then, the verbal sparring continued, with insults and threats flying back and forth. So, what does this all mean for the fight? It changes everything. We've moved past the technical breakdown of Canelo's power versus Crawford's switch-hitting genius. We've moved past the discussion of legacies and pound-for-pound rankings. This fight is now about pure, unfiltered animosity. Let's think about Canelo's mindset. He's the face of boxing, the cash cow, the A-side. He's used to a certain level of respect, a certain deference from his opponents. He expects them to play the game his way. But Crawford isn't playing. Crawford has walked through his entire career with a chip on his shoulder, feeling overlooked and disrespected. He believes he is the best fighter on the planet, and he's not going to bow down to anyone, not even the great Canelo Álvarez. That shove from Canelo might have been the biggest mistake of his career. He tried to physically impose his will to show Crawford who the boss is, but all he did was pour gasoline on a fire that was already burning hot. He woke up the bud that dismantled Errol Spence Jr., the predator who smells blood and goes for the finish. He didn't intimidate Crawford. He enraged him. And for Crawford, this just confirms everything he's always felt. He sees Canelo not just as an opponent, but as the embodiment of the boxing establishment that he's had to fight against his whole career. That push wasn't just a push. It was a sign of disrespect. It was Canelo telling him, "You're not on my level." And now, Crawford has a chance to prove him wrong in the most violent way possible inside that ring. This incident completely alters the psychological dynamic of the fight. Will Canelo come out overly aggressive, trying to prove his point and land a big knockout early? That could leave him open to Crawford's masterful counters and impeccable timing. Canelo is a brilliant counterpuncher himself, but an overly emotional fighter is often a reckless one. He might abandon the very discipline that has made him so successful. Or will Crawford be the one who lets emotion get the better of him? Will he be so eager to punish Canelo for the disrespect that he gets drawn into a firefight? A brawl with a puncher like Canelo is a dangerous, dangerous game for anyone. Crawford's biggest advantage is his boxing IQ, his ability to stay calm under pressure and dissect his opponents. If he abandons that game plan for a street fight, he could be walking right into Canelo's power. This is what makes this matchup so fascinating now. It's a battle of wills as much as it is a battle of skills. Who can keep their composure when the bell rings? Who can stick to their strategy when they staring across the ring at a man they genuinely want to hurt? The trainers, Eddie Reynoso and Bomac, now have the hardest job in sports. Their job over the next 48 hours is to be psychologists. They have to get their fighters to channel this incredible rage into focused, intelligent aggression, not blind fury. They need to calm the storm without extinguishing the fire. It's a razor's edge. One wrong move, one lapse in discipline, and the fight could be over in an instant. Looking back at boxing history, these moments of genuine animosity often produce the most legendary fights. Think Ali Frazier. Think Tyson Holyfield. When it's personal, the fighters dig deeper, they push harder, they take risks they wouldn't normally take. We are no longer just hoping for a great fight. We are on the verge of witnessing a modern-day classic, a war that will be talked about for generations. The narrative is set. It's the king of the sport against the undefeated wolf at the door. It's power versus precision. It's the A-side versus the underdog who refuses to know his place. And now, it's a grudge match fueled by a public explosion of genuine hatred. The stakes were already impossibly high, but after today, they've been launched into the stratosphere. This isn't just for belts or for money anymore. This is for pride. This is for respect. This is personal. I, for one, cannot wait for that first bell. The tension in the arena is going to be unlike anything we've ever experienced. Every single punch thrown will have bad intentions behind it. Forget the scorecards. Both of these men will be looking for a knockout. They want to make a statement. They want to end this rivalry definitively. What a day. What a scene. This is why we love boxing. The drama, the passion, the raw human emotion. It doesn't get any more real than this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Who do you think this chaos benefits more? Canelo or Crawford? And how do you see this fight playing out now? Thanks for tuning in, everyone. It's going to be an unforgettable fight night. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our post-fight analysis. We'll be breaking it all down right here. Until then, take care and get ready for war.